Oh man, I am so excited because I just watched some shit of myself when I was not excited, and that shit was boring as fuck. So I don't have to be fucking toned down at all, son. I can be jacked up on everything, on God, on life, on all that. I can be fucked up and still smoke a cigarette because I am a human being and I am trying to solve serious problems for all of us, and let's all do it together. This is going to be a learning process for all of us, and I'm super excited. I do not claim to have all the information. I only can give you what I have. You guys do with it as much as you can do. Let's build a bright future together, guys. I'm so excited. Look at all these 84s, man. 84s and the octonians, 84s and the Joseph Johnsons, plane constants. Man, it's all over the place. It's in the digits. What ain't in the digits, man? That's one thing you will see, is how much stuff is in them digits. If you look at the center right there, I was trying to look at how topological object might be formed over a particular type of scribbly path. And that was a quick snapshot. Because I never do like erasing these things. They are like art to me. But I don't ever like, because the thing is, I won't ever do it again. This right now, I'm erasing a little piece of my existence. And even if I sit here and try to detail everything that I thought about up on here in a line on a sheet of paper, I can never recreate the experience and the exact perceptual frame that I had at that moment. And that's important, guys, not just for me, but for all of us to keep in mind. When we see something written down on a piece of paper that somebody else had as an experience in their life, remember, yes, it probably has some value, but you don't have to absolutely have every exact fucking thing the same every single time that something iterates. If so, why would we fucking be here? Part of the joy of living a life is that you get to create. We have the luxury of having a body. Who knows how many more beings there are inside this existence that don't have bodies? It brings up interesting questions about the sentience for AI. And it's increasingly looking like that this fucking word everybody's obsessed with, consciousness. Let's talk about consciousness, because consciousness is where it's at, man. We gotta understand consciousness. And look at how quantums and consciousness, blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to be rude, guys, because that's how we have it framed right now. And yes, you do get into quantum domains when you're talking about different types of effects, but we're not going to build a bridge like that. Okay? If we're going to do this for real, then what do we really want? We want everyone to understand where we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it and why we should be doing it and how awesome what we're going to be doing is and where we're going. And that they find out that they can have everything that they could possibly imagine. And all they have to do is have the integrity to build it. That's what's before us. And that's exciting. So, what we'll do is just start wherever. I always love to start with the civilization. You may have seen my videos already on the civilizations. I have other boards sitting around the scene. This is just, I had to delete it. So we could make some space. We'll just start wherever seems like it makes sense. Darker colors, hopefully. I'm gonna have to go get some different ones. That's not good enough. No, we want it to be prettier than that. I'm sorry, guys. You are so beautiful to me. Yeah, that's good. So this is a normal Gaussian distribution, which means that if the area under here is pi, if you fill this in with water, if this was a balloon, the half of a balloon, the inside, it's not perfect, guys. You math freaks, just chill the fuck out. Okay? This right here, just imagine like a balloon and it gets filled up with some space. Just pretend that the amount of water that you had to fill up the space, that happens the same every time. So this right here is like John Glove cycles, where you have the breakout and the pioneers from the beginning revolution. Then you have the builders. They literally build the homes and the roads and the schools and the infrastructure to help the civilization sustain. Then you have commerce. The commerce is obviously exactly what it sounds like. It's when you start to see the trade develop, your international relationships start to grow, you start to essentially have a reputation like this person's going somewhere, he's going to do all right. And then after that you have affluence. Usually through that period you've developed big enough systems where you have an army and you have a variety of different things that you specialize in that you're good at, and you become big enough so that it's a great big, it's not quite a machine yet. It is a machine, but it's not quite as bad because everybody's still pretty tough. So because everybody's still pretty tough, people don't really mess around as much. And because people aren't messing around as much, everyone's actually able to focus better on whatever it is that they're doing. So this is an actual period where the majority of people are doing reasonably well. They've had a couple of generations before them that were really suffering and building up. Now they're starting to have some sense of well-being, which is what the 1960s destroyed. For us. The 50s were a peak of the convergence, and that was right after the affluent peak, which is the sieve. The sieve, oh, you know what's interesting? Is that we'll go with sieve, and then we'll also go with sieve, because this is the max. everything's going to best right there. And if you'll recall, it wasn't long after that where we became the standard. And that was right in here in the intellectual phase. More than likely, it was closer to the center. So it's hard to say. Most likely America was at its peak, right around the 20s for certain things in terms of the total cycle. But there are arguments to be made that it was the 40s and after. But I think that the progression of the monetary value inflates a lot of these different things in here. After this, after the whole civil rights and drug thing got captured by the government, the 70s and all the way up until probably 2015. I don't think we really completely, if you remember, one of the reasons that Donald Trump ran in the first place is just because everything was getting so stupid. And that's why it was so ridiculous that he won, because they had people that were laughing. Right? They literally had people who lost the election that were sitting there laughing that there was a possibility that Trump would win. You guys remember that? Somebody can pull up one of those things and put it in here. And truthfully, wow, dude, how blind do you have to be? Like, literally cut off from their own body. That's what happens. That's the whole thing about this sin idea. The sin idea is related to that mismeasurement where it's not the perfect exact thing that really should be done, but we do the other thing anyway. It's like the top of that list. And then the power of the system eats the human soul. Those people, man, they have to live. Like you see some of these people that were in government and other things putting out videos about, I didn't do this or that again. So-and-so doesn't have any relation. Those sorts of things. And those people still have to be alive. You have certain people just like killing off people that were associated with them in the fort. They still have to be alive. All that vitriol, all that hatred that they be spewing, they have to sit there with that. And the only way that they can do that is by not doing it. They have to have a physical release valve. And whether it's some type of insane narrative about like arrogance, or whether it's some type of probably chemicals, maybe chemicals, I don't know, but I would think chemicals less, but I'm not sure. But there has to be a release valve, because otherwise your body would just shut down from the entire structure of how horrible you have done for the civilizational, continuum of beings across 4.5 billion years. If you had that much information about how stupid one would, if you were a certain person in such a situation as I've been describing, and you had that experience, man, if you could download how fucking stupid one's actions is, we would not be able to exist. But the cool thing is that we can get a better idea about the next step that will get us out of confusion. Because it's not just those people that have been doing foolish things. It's also us. Because you got to think, those people didn't necessarily start out. I mean, if they're a part of a long line of political people, yeah, they're going to be fucked up. Especially at this time. in history. But because your position here, the generations of political leaders that end up here, multi-generational, big no. Okay, what we're entering into is the next phase. This right here is actually done wrong, and I apologize. It is the end of the cycle, but we're actually starting off like this. We're about to rocket into the next freaking dimension, guys. America is about to take off, son. And you see up here where the representation of the GDP got extenuated out and it got taken off the fucking gold standard and all that. And now we're trying to figure out how we're going to make sure we don't default and how are we going to cut everything out and blah, blah, blah. Well, let's take all this work we're doing right here and let's freaking pump that and simultaneously grow through it. All this stuff, the new AI infrastructure and all the incredible power generation that we're going to have as a result of merging the AI with the plasma accelerators makes for a type of investment that cannot be fucking depleted in the long run, because all of us are going to be fueling it with these signatures of our physical information, because the same energy that runs those plasma accelerators is what we're managing as a consciousness entity, as a physiological entity of awareness, of sentience. As we process information, we become aware. Our metabolism is the physical instantiation of what we think our thoughts are, of what we think our emotions are. They are literal vector summations across an entire complex, hyper-dimensional matrix of meaning that have been arranged into an atomic configuration that allow us to experience across the atomic shells of our bodies. We are almost entirely fucking made of air. Not air, but it's almost empty, the pressure part. Almost not quite, but that's a cool idea to think on. Seriously. Everything's repulsed apart. All this stuff that we see, it's all storage on top of the electron shells of the fucking atoms that make us up. We are looking at refractions of light all the time. And so what we've been able to do over the course of all this time and the civilization and the universe and evolution is that the way the DNA structures our cells is it actually gives us the opportunity to map the universe onto our body, and therefore through this activity of this constant activity, we're like a sink. Stuff comes in, and we're supposed to be generators. We're supposed to be literal generators and stewards and literal masters of this domain. We are in a domain where we have literally been in control of everything as human beings. And as we got farther and farther here, the average person got pushed farther and farther away from the physical power conduit, but got access to the outside. The power conduit goes up like that and then rains down and everybody gets to eat on the outside, but the conduit is eating them. We don't realize it, but it's the physical presence of civilization in our nervous system that fucks us up. I'm trying to do the antidote, man. I'm trying to do the antidote to Ted's shit, man. What has happened is that the body establishes perineurl networks in the brain. Those perineurl networks are physical structures of what's called proteoglycans around the interneurons, which are the nerves inside of our brain that control inhibition and what's going to be happening at the AIS, the axonal whatever segment, initiation segment. That is a location of extreme importance because there is a huge concentration of ion density right there, right next to where all the fucking mitochondria are and where the microtubules be. Microtubules transport the telomerase. With them pi electrons. Be taking it to the RNA. Called recharge. It does it in a quadruplex. It literally has a big old stack of these G proteins, 3 deep, or 3 wide and 4 deep. You know how the musical scale regularizes 12 square roots of 2? Alright, right here is your candidate, right there. There's your topological similarity. It's not the end of the world. What I'm saying is, you think about the chords are regularized in 12 square roots of 2, and you got a bunch of combinations inside this G matrix that means something, and it has 12, and it's fucking 4 by 3. It's a fucking matrix of possibilities, man. And who knows how all that shit's all wrapped up inside there and creating that special information on top of the C's. Cytosine, or whatever the fuck the name of that particular genetic protein is. I just think about C because I also think about Julia sets and the Hausdorff distance. When I think of C's, I also think about ATP because ATP is not something that gets eaten. It just has a little attachment right here. And then when it comes by and gets that information, this thing goes whop, whop, folds back around, and it spins. It goes back for recycling to get refueled. Oh, what? Probably to get refueled with that pi electrons at some point right in that process. And so the point is that these perineurl networks become brain hogs. As inflammation increases, these things get worse. There's a big old bunch of bricks in our head saying, you didn't see that. Remember the, you have 6 fingers? You guys don't know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about 1984 when he's like, I can't even do it, man. It's too intense. For real, dude. That's the scene where he's being tortured and told that he has 6. And this dude breaks eventually because who's not going to break? You can't get tortured forever and not break, man. That's just fucking how it works, dude. Dude, you can't fucking get tortured forever and be okay. It doesn't fucking work. So those of you who think, oh, I'm so much tougher than all these people came before me, fuck that. You guys, there's some tough motherfuckers in the world, but there's been some really motherfucking crazy ass tough motherfuckers. Like for real, son, and they lived long lives, man. That was a completely different time in civilizational history, but it's part of our genetic structure, and we are not meant to let that all go to waste. So what happens with these perineurl networks is they hog the ions, which makes it harder for the integrin to bind. The integrin are these little ligands that jump out from one cell to the other and be like, oh yeah, let's fucking get it on, son. Oh, yes! Calm down, dude. Fucking weirdo. God. I am so sorry. There is no excuse. Anyways, they be getting excited, man. They be coming together with that integrin. They be binding. As they be binding, they require ions, the magnesium, and some other things that I can't remember. Somebody edit this video and put it in right there because it's accurate. I mean calcium and all that stuff, but specifically magnesium likes to bind to the integrin, which is roughly 25, fully extended, 23 to 25. Also, let's see, where was the other 23? No. Oh, Sapernsky gasket. I don't think we've got to any of the big 2, 3s yet. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. And the microtubules, the flowers of, man, that's terrible. Wow. I'm going to have to work on that one. Anyways, the flowers of the microtubules that are pulsing information. This is for minus 0.5. So this is 25 across, and this is 8, 5. I'm so sorry, I'm getting distracted, but it's relevant. But I don't have to go into that right now. What I really want to talk about how that is tied to connecting the E8 lattice and the Leech lattice in symmetry, topological mathematics, but I am so sorry. I just have a lot to say. Anyways, the perineurl networks are made worse by the inflammation, in part because they're basically like big filters in the head. Say you can or can't do something, and it's absorbing the it's trying to force a structure. So if you see a stop sign, you know that it means stop. If you see money in on a counter, you know that you're not just supposed to take it. If you go into a restaurant and it has something that says wait till such and such time to go sit, or wait for such and such instruction, if you have to go to do some important legal work, and you can't tell the difference between some type of linguistic structure that allows for you to win or lose the case, and what the rational meaning of those words can be interpreted into, then you might lose the case. So the pixelation of the environment changes as civilization goes up. We were already warned about problems with the written word becoming the basis of everything. The tree of knowledge is an example of what all this is like the tree of surplus, built on the knowledge from the beginning that pulls in the ideas from the previous civilizations, brings it all the way back in here and uses that to build. Hopefully builds on top of it. That's cool. That kind of looks like a conduit right there. Which it should, because that's where we're going to be going. Squirrel. So, as the ability to differentiate of things in your environment, things inside of energy, things around us, as not being related to the present moment, but being related to something in the future, which may or may not happen, but is written on a piece of paper. And so therefore, what we experience in the present moment has to be guided in a particular way to facilitate that other thing happening into the future. And as that goes generation after generation, increasingly more and more on top of words, it becomes increasingly meaningless. and becomes more and more just about keeping that same rhythm going, even though it is taxing the hell out of us. Not just with money, but with our physical bodies, our well-being, the quality of our thoughts, the quality of our experience, the quality of our life, our ability to get up out of bed, our ability to do a good job at work, our ability to feel good. It affects everywhere that's important. And yet we keep doing the same things over and over and over. And it's possible for us to change now. So what do we need to do?